Hello everybody, this is Wikstrand. So I really love brutal, violent, medieval action movies. And boy howdy did I get my fill in 2011 with the release of Ironclad. Ironclad carrying some pretty big names and a modest budget of $25 million. Still, the movie looked spectacular and the movie looked great and it was an excellent movie. Then they released a sequel a few years later, which I, didn't find out until several years after its release, and it was just recently that I've seen it. And I think it is one of the most unnecessary things that has ever been released. It is so much inferior to its predecessor, it carries none of the star power, and almost everything else is pretty bad. But let's find out what this movie is about and why is this movie even called Ironclad? Because one, maybe two characters who were even in that original movie kind of shows up for this one, and it is a very unnecessary thing to release. But let's find out what this is about, shall we? This is Ironclad: Battle for Blood. One of the characters from the original movie is now the caretaker of a castle in northern England on the border with Scotland. And the Scotsmen are going, into England to pillage and burn and stuff like that, and they attack the castle. And during the battle, the chieftain's son is killed. Now the Scottish chieftain is struck with grief and tells the castle that I'm going to take my revenge on you now, and no Englishmen will leave this castle, bloody blah blah and stuff like that. So now they are under siege there, and the father, the caretaker of the castle, he tells his son that he has to go away and find help, and he has to find their cousin Guy de Lusignan. Quick question, is this the same Guy de Lusignan as was that asshole from Kingdom of Heaven, who apparently have existed? But shouldn't the son go to find the English army or something like that, because the Scotsman has obviously broke a treaty or crossed the border or something like that? Shouldn't this be a military matter? Why is he going after to find Guy de Lusignan, his friend, an executioner and some woman? How exactly is that going to help them in this siege and things like that? I don't know, and I don't really care that much to, devote any more time to that part of this movie, because the rest of this movie is pretty damn bad. It is badly choreographed, ill shot, and horrendously bad edited medieval action sequences that could have been great if they would have been good. It is filled with bad acting, and it is filled with cliched nonsense and a lot of shit that really makes no sense. The movie is boring, the movie is tedious, it's a slog to get through, and in the end the movie ends in a weird, underwhelming fashion that made me go, well, I ain't watching this movie again ever. I will, however, rewatch Ironclad over and over again and think that that is a fucking awesome movie. And speaking of fall from grace when it comes to its predecessor, that movie had Paul Giamatti, he had Thomas Jane, and it had Brian Cox. This movie has Kathleen Stark from Game of Thrones and some other woman that I also think was in Game of Thrones, but I can't remember what her character was or what the actress's name was. And it's not a very good comparison, but holy moly, it's not very good, is it? So, should you see this movie? A resounding no. If you have a medieval action movie where the action sequences are shot in the same way that Kevin Dunn shoots his backstage brawl in WWE, you're in for a lot of trouble. Stay away from this movie. If you've already seen Ironclad and it's kind of curious of this one, kill that curiosity and just see Ironclad. If you've never seen either of the Ironclad movies, skip this one and see the original one. It's a very, very good movie. This one isn't. Horrible acting, cliched characters and bad writing. I give Ironclad: A Battle for Blood 19 points. It is a very, very bad movie that lacked everything that the predecessor has. The predecessor may not have been a fantastic movie, but they had so much stuff to cover up the flaws with, so you kind of accepted it for what it was. And you didn't notice the flaws. In this movie, all the flaws are so visible that the only thing you really see are its flaws, and you cannot see the good things that is kind of lurking in the shadows and in the background of this movie. It isn't terrible. It's not a dumpster fire, but it is a really, really underwhelming sequel. So I'll see you next time for, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.